Welcome back and thanks for joining me. It's Judy from Thistledew Creations, and today I have a large haul of mostly postcards from Leanne Seniak from Manitoba. And I was talking with her last winter, like January, I think it was. And she had said that she had a lot of postcards and wanted to destash them, and I had offered to pay for some postage for her to send them to me. So I did that, and I received a package from her last week. This is the following October. So I don't know what happened in the meantime for Leanne, but she must have gotten busy and forgot about me. Because the package was just mailed recently. It wasn't stuck in the mail. But anyway, I'm not worried about that at all. It was just kind of funny because I'd forgotten all about it. And it was so far down in my messenger messages that I wasn't really reminded of it. I hadn't talked to her about anything else. So it was a great surprise on a Friday afternoon of a long week. And so I'm going to do a quick flip through. These are all just the Canadian ones. So there was Canadian and American ones, a few European ones. But we've got, I kind of put all the Mountie ones together. So these are cool with the scalloped edges. I don't know if you can see that with all the background stuff. They have a neat scalloped edge around them. There's a few of those, 4 of those. A couple portrait and a couple landscape. And then there was another one that's just more normal postcard. They're not terribly old, although I think these ones are a little more vintage feel to them. They don't have dates on them, of course. I don't see any kind of date. You might be able to figure out some dates by looking up the companies that publish them. But anyway, I thought those were cool. And then I'll just do a quick flip through showing you some of the pictures. The backs are mostly not written on. That one's not even a postcard, but it's postcard size. And then I've got some more modern ones. I would say these ones are probably from the 80s, maybe the 90s. National Film Board of Canada. There's 1-800 number. But yeah, no dates on any of these. And then wildlife. Just general Canada postcards. And then there was a lot of these little booklets of detachable postcards. So this one was 75 cents. It's Niagara Falls, which is a very popular place to go, right? And there's postcards all attached together that you can tear off and send. So there was quite a few booklets like this. There's one from Montreal. And so it's actually this one isn't postcards. It's just simply pictures on the front and information on the back. So it would still be a great souvenir for yourself or to give someone when you get home. Parliament Hill in Ottawa. And these ones, are they postcards? No, they're two-sided pictures on both sides. So again, just a souvenir. They come with a place to write some notes, although you'd have trouble writing on that. It's very glossy. And then Montreal, same thing. 19 outstanding views. Pictures on both sides. Victoria, BC. This one has a little bit older feel to it. 35 cents. And it is meant to be mailed. I believe this is where you would put your postage stamp and you would mail this whole thing. So it's like a little envelope with the pictures inside of it. These ones don't have that feeling that they were meant to be mailed, but I suppose you probably could slap a label on it and mail it. This one has a place to write who it's to. Same with this one, Okanagan Valley. You got a place for your postage stamp, a place for your address, and then you've got just a bunch of pictures. So very brief, just telling you where it is. Not a lot of information, just pretty pictures and a small bit of information. And there's another one, the Canadian Houses of Parliament. You can just tell by the prices of them that they're not, like they're pretty old. Canada's flag, maybe it was new. And you get more pictures of Parliament. Pretty nice buildings. And then this one is Saint Anne de Beaupré Basilica. I think that is in, yeah, Quebec. A lot of people go to Quebec to look at the churches and the old buildings. Really fancy. So I was pretty thrilled to get these. The Lakehead, Twin Cities, Fort William and Port Arthur, the Sleeping Giant. And it's another one of these little envelopes with pictures inside. So those are fun. And then I'll just flip quickly through these. These are all Canadian again. The Swimming Pool, Sunnyside Beach, Toronto. And these are, this one's used. Visited this place on Sunday. It's really something place. Wish you were here to see it. Tell you more about it later. But it was never addressed and sent. But it's very matte, very textured. That kind of looks like it's colored in rather than being a color photo. That sort of printing. Lithograph maybe. And then here's another little Royal London Wax Museum. So they got the royal family. They got Architects of Victory, The Last Supper, all in wax. Snow White and the Dwarfs, the Mad Hatter, Geppetto. I wonder if that place is still operating. I'll have to Google it and see if that's still a thing. I mean, I think it's London, Ontario. Could be. Yeah, this was Victoria, BC. Yeah, the Royal London Wax Museum is in Victoria, BC. I was thinking it was in London, Ontario, but it isn't. And then here's a really cool one of the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition. It's a couple pages are loose, and you can see how easily that tore. But it's another one that is like to go up into an envelope, and these are all the colorized photos as well. So there's some pretty cool buildings at the CNE, and I've been there all through my childhood and adult life for different events. And all of this is still there, of course. Engineering and electrical building. $1 Million Horse Palace, that's still there. That entrance, I remember going through there. Rear of the grandstand, I don't recognize that. And I don't recognize this part, but this certainly, the livestock pavilion, that's still there. And the one that I thought was really interesting was the automotive building, I think they call it. The grandstand, the Coliseum, Ontario Government Building. Pyrotechnic finale to the nightly pageant. There it is. The automotive building is where a lot of things used to be held. like you'd go to a trade show there, or you'd go to different events there. And then the old flag. So that might tell the age of that too, just because the flag is not the Canadian flag. And then another one for Niagara Falls. This is older. Niagara Falls Museum, and of course Niagara Falls is full of museums. Labor Day, September 1928, George and Eliza. So that's how old this is. Cool. And you got some great colorized pictures of the falls. Really cool. That upside down one there. Brock's Monument, Queenston Heights. It is pretty cool sight to see, the Niagara Falls. There's another one with the old flag on it. Souvenirs of Toronto. Eva Nigrich, Albany Avenue, Toronto. So it was sent by someone to someone in Toronto, but there was never any stamp put on it. So you kind of have to wonder if that was the person that bought it, or if she intended to mail it and never got around to doing it. But yeah, beautiful colorized pictures. More Niagara Falls. 20 views by day. It says also available in folders of 20 views of the falls illuminated at night. And that is a pretty sight. Rainbow Bridge, Niagara Falls. So pretty cool. And then we've got some other old ones here. Stanley Park, Vancouver. I've never been out west or down east. In Canada, I have been in Quebec, but I haven't, other than that, I haven't been out of Ontario. Stanley Park, some sort of restaurant. Tiki Courtyard, Fort Nelson Motor Hotel. Again, one that was addressed, but not mailed. Same thing with this one. They even wrote a note, but they did. Oh, this one might have been mailed. It seems like the postage stamp has been taken off. So that one may have gone through, although there's no cancellation stamp going off to the side. That's just a little motel in Kenora. Probably in the 60s, I would say, by the picture. And then a couple of other older ones. Barry's Bay, which is very close to where we had our trailer for about a decade. It was kind of fun to find that one in there. And then this one doesn't really say where it is, but it looks very much like the shoreline of where we had our trailer. Like very much like the shoreline. So that was fun to see too. And then another one, having a nice time. Baby, lovely, but weather no good for Dad. I guess we will be home soon. Dad can't. Something here. That one was going to send to Moose Jaw, but again, it doesn't look like the stamp made it onto it. And this one looks like it must be out west, and it's got a 2-cent stamp already on it. You must have paid for the postage with the postcard. And then it's got someone's address on there on a piece of like cloth tape. And this is by Esso, put together, or at least sponsored by Esso. So again, they're not postcards, they're pictures, because they were meant to be sent, the whole package would be sent to someone to show them where you've been. And Fraser Canyon and Rogers Pass. Again, doesn't look like there was ever postage on it. So whether it was sent inside of a letter, who knows? There's another nice old stained postcard back, and then the front is Metropolitan Church, Toronto. More modern one. That's been sent and it still has the stamp on it. From North Bay, Ontario to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan for 5 cents and looks like another 2 cents. There's another really old one. Colander Bay and Highway near North Bay, Ontario. And that one doesn't have postage, but it looks like it was addressed. This is where the quintuplets were born, 5 miles from North Bay. That would be the Dion quintuplets, I'm sure. Royal York Hotel, Toronto, unused. And Union Station, Toronto. And I've been in front of both of those buildings. They still look the same. Canadian Boulevard from the Peace Bridge at Buffalo, New York, and I've been across that many, many times. We usually always crossed at Buffalo. And I recognize these right away when we come across through the border security, and then when you get released, you see these. Niagara Falls, CNE Grounds, Toronto. Gateway to the North, City of North Bay. There was 2 of those. One's a different coloring, slightly different angle. And this is Midnight Dome. Has been a favorite spot to photograph Dawson City since the gold rush of 1898. So that's Dawson City in the Yukon. Whitehorse in the Yukon again. See, I did have these sorted pretty well. And Log Church in Whitehouse in the Yukon. And Jack London's Cabin, Dawson City, Yukon. Front Street, Dawson, Yukon Territory, July 1899. Murdoch's Gem Shop. Must have had these printed, yeah. It's printed exclusively for Murdoch's Gem Shop in the Whitehorse, Yukon. Boar Wave, Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. Scene near Chilkoot Pass, where 63 people were killed by snowslide, April 3rd, 1898. And 25th Street Bridge in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Unused. There's a more modern one. Modern building. Glossy picture. Saskatchewan Power Building. Opened in November 1963. Of course, it doesn't say when this was made, but it looks a little newer than that. Looks and feels a little newer. What's this one? It doesn't really say. It says, with distant cries of reapers in the corn, all the live murmur of a summer's day. Vancouver, made in Vancouver. But it's got perforations on all 4 sides. Makes me think it came out of one of these kind of postcard sets. And then this is Saskatchewan Hall. And then this looks to be 1967 Canada Confederation, 100 years, 1867 to 1967. And the card does feel like it's about that age. What's this building? Transport Canada Training Institute in Ottawa. There's another oldie. Union Station, Toronto again. Camp Bonavista on the Trans-Canada Highway at Trout Lake, North Bay, Ontario. And Hart House and Soldiers Tower, University of Toronto. Osgood Hall, Toronto. I wonder if that's part of the university. Hall of Fame, Canadian Houses of Parliament, Ontario, Canada. It's great to have these old, original, older postcards. Ivanhoe Lodge, Folliet, Ontario. And this just feels and looks like a photograph, but it does have the postcard on the back. And this one is very matte. It's kind of, it looks like a postcard, but, oh, it's from the Dominion Bureau of Statistics. It says something about the census. Postage paid. So it was something the government sent out to households. And then Hotel Algonquin, Joe Lake, Algonquin Park. We were just up there on the weekend. And let's see. Aerial view of Niagara Falls. American and Horseshoe Falls, Oak Garden Theatre, Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Another one of those really old, textured, looks like faux coloring. The Great Divide. What does it say about that? Nothing. And what is this? Just a picture of a house. It doesn't really say whose house or what the significance is. There's no writing on it at all. Another old building with a car from about the mid-30s. It doesn't say where it is either. And then a Canada, looks like a railway bridge. And it does not say. An old log cabin. It looks like some sort of a cottage park. This one very much feels like a photograph. The Portage Store, Algonquin Park, Canada. I've been to that store before. This looks pretty old. And this one, it's a postcard. It just feels very matte and black and white. And it says Mount Sir Donald. H. Clark photo, Selkirk, Manitoba. And here's another one of those really old ones from the Windsor Hotel Dock, Bala, Muskoka, Canada. Some beautiful spots up in Muskoka. Holiday Motor Hotel Sarnia, probably in the 50s, I would say, by the vehicles. And another one of Confederation. There's some more Mounties. And then here's some of the ones where it's like a packet. They're stapled at the end and they're perforated here. So I got a couple of full ones. So these are full of postcards. You tear off the postcard here and you keep this little stub for yourself and send the postcard to somebody else. So you've got the same picture on the little piece as you do on the postcard, just sideways. And so I got this one, which is Ottawa, and another one for Northern Ontario. And then I got all of these that are just the stubs where someone actually sent the postcards, but you've still got the little version that you could use. Now, it doesn't have like a postcard design on the back. It has information on the back. But that's pretty cool to have those little things. So this one was Doesn't really say. It must have something to do with the royal family. And it was 40 full color views for $3. And then this one was it doesn't really show what the theme is immediately. I think I determined these were all Canada. There's another one. Along Superior Route, Northern Ontario. Oh, and there's a spot where you can write, I sent this postcard to whoever, as well as a bit of information about what the picture is. So that's kind of cool too. Old Fort William bonus pack, $5.95. So you got 20 tear-off postcards plus 20 miniatures to collect. And Memories of Kootenay National Parks, Radium Hot Springs, BC. And then there was these snapshot books, 10 different color snapshots of Victoria, BC, only $1.25. So these are, they're just blank on the back. Would have been nice if they put some information, but tells you what all the different places are on the back here. Same with this one. This is Butchart Gardens in British Columbia. And then on the back, it tells you what all the different places are. We've got Toronto. This one is, what is it? All different pictures with just information on the back. Not really postcards, but just little souvenirs. Parliament Hill in Ottawa. $1. You'd never get a thing like this for $1 now. So this one is not postcards per se, but it's blank, pretty blank on the back and then pictures on the front. So these could be used in your journals to add little journaling space. So if you were doing a Canadian themed journal, it would be awesome to have some of these pictures. International Peace Garden, North Dakota, Manitoba border. And this one looks like it was meant to be sent in the mail. It's got a place for a stamp and a place for an address. And it unfolds to show a bunch of pictures. Louis Tussaud's English Wax Museum in Niagara Falls. When I was a kid, we went to Niagara Falls one time on the way home from West Virginia and went to a couple of wax museums and Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, places like that. There's all kinds of them there. There's another Butchart Gardens. Just a single one. It comes out of, oh, actually it's not single. There's a bunch of loose pages. So those will be the first ones I'll use, and they have blank backs, so they can be tucked in a journal really easily. Oh, it looks like it came out of this book, Stanley Park, Vancouver, BC. So it's missing the plastic spine. And this one's Scenochrome Photographs, Stanley Park. So these are actual photographs. They're in really good shape because they've probably just been tucked in a shoebox or tucked in a drawer somewhere for all these years. Vancouver. Canadian Rockies, Banff National Park. Ottawa, 2 of those. Stanley Park, that's the loose one. And another one that's meant to be mailed, Fort Macleod, Alberta. So it's got neat symbols along the sides, probably native. And there was a few really long panoramic, I guess you'd call them. And these ones are perforated too, so it makes me think that they were all attached at one time. Houses of Parliament in London, so that shouldn't be in my Canada stuff. The Tower of London, Her Majesty's Guards, Buckingham Palace, London Bridge, Tower Bridge, London, and Piccadilly Circus. And then that one's a collage of 4 pictures. But they're panoramic view cards, Dennis Productions. And then these ones are Canadian. And there's no perforation between the 2 postcards that are side by side, but they've obviously been torn apart from each other this way. So you got the prairies, you got some wildlife and some mountains. Tells you on the back where it is. Mount Edith Cavell. So those are pretty cool. There's another one of those little ones. It's like the little stubs from the postcards. And then there was one religious one. Bethany scene from the Black Hills Passion Play with Joseph Meyer, portrayer of the Christus. South Dakota. And then a Scottish one that I thought I would save for my Highlander journal. And I think this was a Scottish castle. It's got a postmark on it. July 71. Yeah, 71. And it was sent to somebody in Hollywood, California in the States. I don't know how it got back up here. That's pretty neat. And then these ones are used ones. Paris. Suspension Bridge from Roanham. An unused one. Brighton Front from Embassy Court. That one is written on, but it doesn't look like it ever had a stamp on it. Royal Pavilion in Brighton. Now I'm assuming this is Brighton overseas, British production. We have a Brighton very close to where I live, but I don't think that's the same place. Probably named after it. Another one of Brighton. And then Wiltshire, which I believe is Scotland. And Soldier, is it something's temple? Solomon's Temple, Goff's Cave, Cheddar. And I Googled that one and I can't remember which country it was in. Must be England. London View Pack, souvenir. So again, you get a little bit of a description on the back and color pictures on the front. Norwich Cathedral, West Front. And it's a bunch of pictures of different places in Norwich, or Norwich, whatever you say. Black and white. I love pictures of old churches, especially where you've got all the really cool stonework. This one is Nave from the West, the Abbey, Sweetheart Abbey. Edinburgh's world-famous international festival. Stonehenge. And Bournemouth. And then this one is Fotografier Gothenburg. I would say Sweden. Stockholm is Sweden. And these are actual photos. They're pretty old. They have like a metallic sheen to it when you tilt it. Kind of cool. So probably very early mass-produced photographs. If anybody has a connection to this place, I would be happy to send them to you. They're really cool, but I don't know anyone in Sweden. And I love the little booklet that they came in. I may make a pattern off of it. So you just stick them in there and then you fold up the sides and then the bottom and then the top tucks into the bottom. Another church one, Blytheburg Church. And that one's written on, this little church is more than 1,000 years old. It is where the Dutch people were taught to write in secret. The inkwells are inserted in pews made like desks, and I was very interested, so got one for you. So that's interesting that the person bought the postcard and wrote down what they learned about the place, and she must have just hand delivered it to the person. And this one has some writing on it from Rose. I think this one also was from Rose. Yeah, love Rose. Dear Willie. It's cool to have the ones with handwriting and postage on them. Black and white photos. Tito Stott. Louis, Netherlands. Such neat places. And just a few more here. Heidelberg. And Alice, Where Art Thou? Number 2. So, I mean, I'm still blown away by how many she sent me. Wasn't expecting that many. And that's just the Canadian ones. We just check my time and we'll see if we want to do the US ones. "36 minutes. I'll do a quick flip through of the US ones for anyone that's interested enough to stick around. We've got, again, some really big ones. These are just photos that were stuck in there. And I don't know what this thing is. It looks to be floating in the water, and it's some sort of a contraption. Doesn't have any notes on it at all. Florida Keys. These are really big ones. And that one's definitely like 80s. It's probably the shape of it. These ones. I think they're all Florida. Oh, Hawaii. And then some New Orleans. This is a little book of New Orleans. So lots of pictures and little bits of information. And a map. Something from Rider's Digest, not Reader's Digest. Mount Rushmore, Face of Crazy Horse. What's that one? Sylvan Lake in Custer State Park, Black Hills, South Dakota. The Sioux Locks, and that is Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We have a Sault Ste. Marie in Canada too. And this looks to be like either a barge or something. I thought those were neat, extra large. And then there's a whole bunch more of these little booklets. I won't flip through the inside of them. The Shrine of the Little Flower, Desert Landscapes, 20 art color tone views. And this one has a place for postage. 1.5 cents without message. Why do they care whether you write on it or not? Historic Deadwood, which is interesting to us because of that show, the Deadwood show. We really like that. And then there's another one with vintage photographs. It's not full. And then this one looks to be photographs of the Columbia Basin. The Shrine of the Little Flower. There's a couple more of those. North Idaho. Mackinac Island, Michigan. Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There's 2 of those. Hollywood, Cypress Gardens, the Alamo, State of Washington, magnificent evergreen state of Washington, Nashville, San Francisco, and Georgia's Stone Mountain, and Alaska. So that's all the little booklets and photo books. And we've got some more panoramics. Yellowstone National Park. That's another one of those booklets where you have the postcard and the stub. And then the other panoramas were the Grand Canyon, of course. You need a panorama for that. Somewhere I would really like to go someday. And this is Mount Shuksan in Northwest Washington. And then we've got, oh, this is Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico. And, oh, West Virginia, that's got to go in my West Virginia box. Hairpin Switchback, Walnut Canyon, Carlsbad Caverns National Park, New Mexico. That's a neat, very old one. I think this one's West Virginia too. Yeah, Beckley, West Virginia, and Beckley, West Virginia. I was born in Charleston, so greetings from Charleston. I was born in Charleston, West Virginia. And this one is Hollywood Movie Stars. Hawaii. Covered Bridge, Greenfield, Dearborn, Michigan. La Jolla, California. Autumn Foliage, doesn't say where. Printed in the USA. There's, in this temple, as in the hearts of the people for whom he saved the Union, the memory of Abraham Lincoln is enshrined forever. Denver Mountain Parks. That's a really vintage feel. Some more modern ones. Idaho Falls, Idaho. And Grand Canyon. Wisconsin. Look at the rainbow. Vermont. And this is a tunnel of some sort. Wyoming's longest tunnel. Road to Yellowstone Park through Wapiti Valley. Most scenic 7 miles in the world. 70 miles in the world. You are now near Kellogg, the town which was discovered by a jackass and which is inhabited by its descendants. Look at the log. Giant fir log, 13,000 board feet specimen. Doesn't say where. Wash Day in the Ozarks. Pinnacles in the Badlands. Badlands of South Dakota. Black Hills of South Dakota. Pigtail Bridge goes around in a circle. Sylvan Lake. Mount Rushmore before and after. Highway through the Needles. Needles Highway Tunnel. Big tunnel through the Needles. Sentinel Rocks. Face of Abraham Lincoln on Mount Rushmore. Needles Eye. Twin tunnels on the Iron Mountain Road, Mount Rushmore. Famous cathedral spires. Custer State Park, South Dakota. 2 of those. And Sand Creek. Hell's Thousand Acres. The Judge and Convict. This one looks more modern. Lewiston Hill at Dusk. Yellowstone Park, Wyoming. Grand Canyon. Lake Hotel Lounge, Yellowstone Park. Old Faithful. Tower Falls in Yellowstone. Yellowstone Lodge or Old Faithful Inn Lobby, Yellowstone National Park. And this is like a building made out of antlers. House of Antlers in Yellowstone Park. That would be Old Faithful. Daisy Geyser, Upper Geyser Basin. And that looks to be in the late 30s by the vehicles. Golden Gate Canyon and Viaduct, Yellowstone. Obsidian Cliff in Yellowstone. And this is Morning Glory Pool in Yellowstone. Always kind of been fascinated by that place too, Yellowstone. Old Faithful Inn and Upper Geyser Basin, Yellowstone National Park. Old Faithful, those falls again with a rainbow. Lower Falls of Yellowstone. And this one looks to be a wood carving. Crazy Horse Mountain Memorial. Villa Roma. This is really unique building, a completely round building. San Francisco's most elegant motor hotel and cocktail lounge. And that one's written on. And then there's another booklet of Grand Canyon information, and that one was mailed and canceled and has the address still on it. Key West, Florida, views of the state. Detroit, Michigan. Southern California. Ozark Hillbilly Family, and San Antonio, Texas. So that's what I got. And there was also a bunch of lace, but I'll do a separate video for the lace. It's a different whole subject matter. But I was really quite thrilled to receive those, and I can't wait to figure out ways to use them. I might, some of the newer ones that aren't worth anything, I might collage on the front of them and use the postcard part. Maybe even send them as happy mail. Like one of my collages with a note on the back and canceled postage. It might be fun to send and receive some of those. So if you have some postcards in your collection and you want to do some art on the front of your postcard, I will send one to you if you'll send one to me. I'll do a video of me doing some collaging on them, and we'll see if we can get some of that going. A little bit of postcard happy mail. Might be fun to do. So comment down below if you'd be interested in exchanging postcards in the mail. I think I would like to do that. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.